Welcome to the Better Business Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Zelan. Join me week after week as I interview high-level entrepreneurs on their journey to success, both in business and personal development. Each week presents new stories to learn from and new ideas on how to run a better business. Stay updated with all the guests we'll have by subscribing to this podcast. Welcome to another episode of Better Business with Austin Zelan. I'm so excited to have our guest Don here, and he's going to be sharing a little bit about his experience in business and the things that he's done, and share from the success that he's had in business. And I think it's going to be really valuable for us to have some actionable takeaways from his story, and in turn, we can also run a better business. So Don, thank you so much for joining me today. Very excited to have you on here. And do you want to just give people a bit of a background story of how you got started in entrepreneurship and how that's gotten you to where you are today?
Yeah, for sure, man. And yeah, thank you for having me. So my background, I started in accounting. So I started my career as a CPA. I still am a CPA. I worked at Ernst & Young, got my accounting degree at Tampa. And from there, I worked 2 years in public accounting and honestly got super fat and miserable. Was really not happy with my life. And decided, I went to a Tony event and decided, enough was enough. Broke free from corporate America and started my own CPA firm. And found a few clients in real estate and private equity, which really allowed me to start building my entrepreneurial skill sets, leveraging the CPA license. Because at the end of the day, I didn't know what path to take other than that foundation I already built. And it gave me a really strong foundation when it came to entrepreneurship because I learned from guys that were absolutely crushing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so basically you were able to leverage your CPA license and then also your experience at Ernst & Young to have the CPA firm. And so you started it, and walk me through that process. Like, what was your train of thought? Were you like, oh, this is going to be a interesting project that I'm working on? Or like, did you have mentors helping you in that? How did that look like?
Yeah, gratefully. So when I was at the Tony event, right, I just reframed that opportunity and that potential. And I went to my network. The first thing I typically do if any endeavor now, especially, but back then I kind of just did it unconsciously. I went to my network. Who do I know that runs successful businesses? I lived in Tampa, Florida at the time. And I met a guy named Kevin ran a big real estate operation, right? And so I reached out to him. I was like, hey man, do you need CPA work? He brought me on as a CFO. And it was a really cool opportunity in the sense, I wasn't making a lot, I think I was making like $3,500 a month or something, but it was my first client, you know what I mean? So it was really cool in that sense. And then from there, I started to skip because his background was accounting too. So we had a lot of alignment. So he was my first like real traditional mentor when it came to entrepreneurship. I had different mentors when it came to like when I went to college and all of that. But so working under him, it was a big leap in the sense because I was doing pretty much everything. I was like a one-man CPA firm. I eventually hired some like accountants to support me, but ultimately it was me running the show, doing the CFO services for private equity real estate. And the cool thing there, it brought me into that world, right? So when I was at Tony, I was okay, I'm going to go and volunteer for Tony. Well, that next event, I went and volunteered for Tony, and I put out there, I was like, man, I really want to get proximity to this guy. Like, how do I get in Tony's world? Like, this guy transformed my life. How do I get closer to this guy? And then fast forward, I'm still doing my CPA work. A couple months later, my partner and I, Ratmir, so we were partners in like an event company, doing like events for college kids during college. So I guess that's technically my first entrepreneurship journey, but it was mostly like just events. And it wasn't like crazy big or success. We were successful, but it wasn't crazy successful. So I met a guy named Nick at an entrepreneur mastermind. And this guy named Nick, he had no legs and one arm and an incredible story. So my partner Ramir was like, yo, bro, like, I'll work for you for free. Let's build this brand. So I came in to support them and built their business. So like as a CPA background, I built their entity, did all that stuff for them, helped them with the financials, and just kind of stayed in the background while they started to build up that business. And a few months later, I had an opportunity to come full-time with them. And I basically dissolved my accounting firm that took me into building a global keynote speaking company. Fast forward a year and a half, we're partnering with Tony Robbins, global China tours, all over the world, masterminds, all that stuff. So it just kind of shows you, like, I didn't know that's where I would go, right? I had a finance I do have a finance foundation, and that's all I focus on now. But I didn't know I would go into that journey of personal development with Tony Robbins. but I set the intention. I think the main thing here is I knew I wanted to go there, and I was incredibly grateful for the transformation that Tony gave me. I was like, how do I get proximity to him? And God provided an opportunity to work with Nick. Now, I worked for Nick for free for an entire year. I didn't make a single dollar. I got to travel and grow, but I still sacrificed a lot, right? Like I sacrificed that accounting for him. I couldn't be traveling around the world working as a CFO for these real estate guys and private equity guys in Tampa. So I had to let go of my two biggest clients. I still had some accounting and bookkeeping, like small clients to have some residual income. But overall, that journey, so to wrap all that up, is like going into entrepreneurship, I didn't know that it would be, hanging out with the greatest minds within the first couple of years. You know what I mean? We're, partner with Tony. We're pretty much everywhere, hanging out with Ed, Andy, all those guys. And it was a really incredible journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I think that a lot of people, when they start in entrepreneurship, they're not really sure where it's going to take them.
Yep.
But if they're flexible and they're adaptable, just like you were, they're able to take life to that next level and take advantage of those opportunities that are presented to them. So, props to you for doing that. And can you just share a little bit more? I mean, that must be such a huge like mindset shift and elevation of your mindset to like hang around guys like that. What was that experience like?
It was incredible, man. At first, it felt like imposter syndrome. Like, am I worthy in being in these rooms, right? It's like, as you grow as an entrepreneur, that's typically the case, right? Putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, like, man, do I fit in here? How do I conversate with these guys that are like leading millions, right? And eventually you kind of get like, okay, I do belong here, right? This is where I'm supposed to be. This is my path. This is where I belong. You know what I mean? Around these high level mindsets. And can you repeat, what was the question one more time?
Yeah, I just wanted you to share a little bit of what it was like to be around these guys and how it affected your mindset.
Yeah, it transformed me personally. Like it was, I came from, small town, first person to graduate in my family in college. And I didn't have these opportunities to have exposure to these environments, right? So when you're around these minds and the way they think and the way they operate, it's at a very high level. It's a very accelerated lifestyle, right? And when you have exposure to them, especially personally, it's like you can kind of see like, oh, this is attainable because they're just normal guys. That's what I learned when I was like started networking with these high level people. Everyone's just normal. They're just chill. Everyone puts a lot of these people on like super high pedestals. And when you do that, you're detaching yourself from them. When they're above you and you think they're above you, you've automatically put yourself below them, right? So I've learned to just come into any room unexpecting, like, sometimes I'll meet like a billionaire or, 9-figure guy and super unexpected. If you're going to treat somebody, like I just treat everybody the same. Like I treat them with love, gratitude, appreciation, willingness to learn, because you can learn really from anyone, right? So once you get humbled by being around those kind of guys, you realize that most people are willing to just be open and willing to learn and mentor and really support your journey and, give you advice and insights. So it was really powerful for me.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So you spent this time with Tony. And after that, what happened to your entrepreneurial journey? Was the CPA firm still around? Like, walk us through that.
Yeah. So I still currently have it active. It's mostly consulting based, right? So if I have any, consulting clients, I'll run it through that business, but I don't operate as like an accountant or a tax guy anymore. It's mostly high level consulting. My primary business, well, fast forward a bit, did the global speaking thing, or the global keynote speaking thing with Nick. I actually exited in 2022. What year is this? Time's flying. I exited a year and a half ago. And now I do algorithmic trading. So I have technology and the trading markets.
Cool. So what's your favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
Favorite part about being an entrepreneur? I would say the flexibility of lifestyle. Like I enjoy traveling. I enjoy having the finer things of life, experiencing the world, getting data sets, learning different cultures, all of that. The flexibility of lifestyle and the challenge, right? Like it's really the biggest game. I don't believe people are putting themselves in enough pressure if they're not doing entrepreneurship, right? If you haven't put yourself in a position to scale a business, build a business, I love what you guys hear, better businesses, right? So it's like, you haven't put yourself in a position for the pressure of, mouths to feed, people to influence, clients to serve. You're not taking the responsibility you need to become a more influential, more powerful human. So,
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with you 100%. I think life is a journey of self-improvement and growth, and we have to stay under that stress of always growing because
Yep,
stress is good for you at the end of the day.
100%.
And so we need to learn how to leverage that to our advantage so that we can become better and better every day and continue improving daily. So
Mhm.
that's something that I love about entrepreneurship as well. And the doors that it's opened for me, like you said, there's multiple types of freedom that we can achieve with entrepreneurship. And I kind of break them down into three. Number one is time freedom,
Yep.
time to do whatever you want, financial freedom, you have the money to do whatever you want. And then you also have geographical freedom. You could do
Mhm.
it from anywhere in the world. And I think that's one of the best parts about entrepreneurship, at least from my experience. So, okay, cool. Now, kind of transitioning over from mindset and growth, we got that aspect of it. Now, if we wanted to scale a company, obviously you've
Mhm.
scaled multiple companies.
Mhm.
What are like the biggest challenges? If you have like maybe two or three challenges that you've faced, and then also how you overcame those challenges.
Yeah, challenges typically it's people, right? So it's like when you're scaling, either the people are able to scale with you or they're not able to handle it, right? So it's
Mhm.
identifying who are the key players on your team that are able to scale with you
Mhm.
and compensating them effectively, or you know, don't overcompensate the people. So some of the challenges I had, I overcompensated people that shouldn't have been compensated as much, and it
Mhm.
didn't leave room to bring on more people to fulfill more positions. As you scale a company, I would say people are your most valuable resource.
Mhm.
I mean, the world of AI is changing that a lot, but I would say still, even the higher levels, the executives, you still need key players to help scale a business. So you said two things. Uh, that was the first one that came to mind. Another thing, scaling a business is just making sure you have the structures in place, right? So making sure that you have the mentorships, have the ability to know where you're going, right? So what do I mean with that? The vision. Without a vision, people perish, right? So if you don't have a vision of where you're going and a structure in place to get you there, the actions necessary, the thoughts required, right? So we're always creating our reality based on thoughts. So what we think, we create, right? So if you don't have a vision in place and you're just doing business to do business and you're reacting and you're reacting and you're just putting out fires and putting out fires, as you scale, that's eventually you're just going to run out of energy, right? So with the vision, it allows you to and create that. The vision allows you to create the power, right, and the thoughts around the scaling, right? So the structure that you need to put in place is understanding your vision and what thoughts you're thinking behind that vision and being able to cast that vision to all your people and getting them enrolled into your reality, your vision of your company, right? So if their visions fit inside of yours, that's where the true power and the true scaling comes from.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important to have buy-in from your team, as far as your vision goes, because at the end of the day, people need a vision to follow. And if they believe in the vision, they believe in the mission, they're going to follow you as their leader. So, okay, cool. Now, so we've identified kind of the biggest challenges in your experience have been people, hiring the right people, making sure you're paying them correctly, and then also having a vision and a structure for them to follow. So, how have you kind of overcome these challenges? Did you figure out a better way to hire people? Did you figure out that, hey, I want to only hire people that I don't know just from job ads, or maybe people that I only do know, or only choosing from people that I do know? What has been your strategy there?
I typically find the best people through warm networks.
Hmm.
Generally, if they get attracted, the best higher level people. And the way I hire people is I bring them in and I do like a process, right? First, we have like a personality or behavior assessment because behavior doesn't change. And I learned this from a mentor who ran a massive Keller Williams franchise, like one of the biggest franchises in the nation.
Hmm. And which
And
assessment do you use?
I forget what it's like, RS. It's a specific one that was specific for the training we went through.
Hmm.
I forget what it was called, but I
Hmm.
still have it. Um, it's like RSPP or something like that. I'll share with you after. And basically, you take them through that behavior assessment, and then you take them through a series of questions. So what you do is you take them when you're going through those series of questions. You're opening doors, and you're getting their why, and you're understanding where they want to go with their life and their vision, and then you paint it back into making that happen through the company, right? So when people have their needs fulfilled in a company and their visions uh, reality like created, it really allows for a ton of momentum because like they're so fulfilled in the mission because you understand it, right? It's not just like a transactional thing where you just hire them, hey, here's your pay and go perform. You're actually invoking their deepest desires of what they want for their life, and you're making sure they achieve it, and you're keeping them accountable to that achievement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's very important. You have to have that buy-in, and they have to feel like they're part of something bigger, and also that their needs and their goals are being met. And that's what motivates them to stay and to continue working with you and continue building.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they have to have some sort of sense of responsibility, for their life, for the business and all that stuff. So cool. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And then as far as like systems and stuff like that, how did you build all that out? Did you just come up with it on your own? Did you follow a template or a model or something? How can our viewers, if they're watching this, how can they also build systems in their company?
Build systems around hiring or attracting top talent?
In general, in scaling. You were talking about your second challenge was systems and vision.
Structure around the team and making sure the people, that's what I was meant, like referring to the people are in the right place, right? So systems in itself, I mean, so I'm not the CEO. I have a COO for that.
So you basically hired the COO and he did all the systems build out
structure and like for the team and the systems itself. Yeah. Gotcha. I would highly recommend getting a systems person because I'm a visionary, right? So where I operate best is the creative. I also cast the vision and find the deals, partnerships, networks, all the things necessary to help scale the business. But when it comes to the actual systems itself, I typically bring somebody in that's much more skilled in the systems processes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. No, I mean, I think that's very helpful for some people. And so besides all that, we touched a little bit on artificial intelligence and how we can use AI to scale our companies. Are you currently using AI in your company?
Yeah. So our social team uses AI in the content side, at least for generating ideas and, creative plans and all of that. Primarily use, when it comes to AI, you're talking about like ChatGPT and the systems for businesses and stuff.
Whatever application you have, I'm not sure what you might be using it for.
Yeah, that's mostly our social team right now. Yeah.
Okay, so they're just using it to generate ideas for content and then
copy, website, all that stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. How do you see AI continuing to integrate with businesses over the next 3 to 5 years?
Generally is revolutionizing the planet, right? So it's like, it already has the capability. I believe they haven't released the capabilities it genuinely has, right? Typically, like, I'm not getting conspiracy here, but like typically the government has light years ahead of advanced technology than us, and we get like fractions of it, right? So I believe artificial intelligence is very powerful, and it becomes significantly more powerful as more data is input to it, right? So, I mean, they're already talking about there's going to be $1 billion businesses, into the future, right? So it's like, in my opinion, it's what do we want to focus on with AI? It's not necessarily, it's because it's about the inputs that are put into it and the consciousness that expands it, right? So who's using it and what is it being used for? I genuinely believe in the business world, it is going to significantly change it. Finance world, I mean, it's been significantly changed with algorithms for a long time. And man, I think it's super powerful.
Yeah. So do you think that AI can be biased or it is biased in a certain direction based on who created it?
I mean, yeah. So if the person creating it puts the data in it, right, you can create custom GPTs now, right? So, my wife was just building that on the airplane here for her content stuff. So you can create custom GPTs as an example, right? But, large language models, you could ingest what data you want and pull out what data you don't want and have it create responses based on, that's where the dangers come in, is like who's in control of it, who's in power, and who's influencing the direction. Because at the end of the day, if there's billions of people using ChatGPT, for example, and it's owned by Microsoft, and what Microsoft's agendas are, it can influence the narrative. It can influence consciousness in the sense if they're influencing millions and millions and millions of people to think the same thing around a specific agenda or a specific target, it could genuinely create havoc or create blessings, right? So I think it's up to us as a human race to really keep those in check and like who is in control of the data and what's being ingested in those things.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. So you talked a little bit about partnerships.
Mhm.
So let's switch gears to partnerships. You talked about Tony, you talked about other people that you're partnered with in the business world.
Yep.
How have strategic partnerships helped you accelerate your business?
Yeah, I mean that's the bread and butter. Strategic partnerships. I mean, because when you're developing a network, when you're developing relationships, right? It's you genuinely want to help each other, right? I always lead with value first, right? So how can I support somebody, especially when it comes to business and collaborations? In my current business, we have pretty heavy strategic partnerships we're about to release, about 5 of them, joint ventures. And it's going to really scale us significantly. And why is that? Because all of these guys have proven or have significant followings. By followings, I mean buyers, right? Like high ticket buyers, right? Because we're a high ticket product. When you joint venture with high level people that already have buyers and already have people in your demographic, in your market, it just accelerates your growth significantly, right? So when you're trying to scale, finding people that are in your demo, finding people that are in your market that want to joint venture and create a win-win, because it all comes down to the win-win. You don't want to create a win-lose situation. Well, actually, win-win-win, because the client also has to win, right? So the strategic partner, and the client all need to be winning. So you need to create an environment of value. And to answer your question, I've built most of my businesses on strategic partnerships.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So maybe somebody's watching this and they're like, that sounds great, but where do I find strategic partners? So where did you find yours? Is it just like masterminds or events, or how have you been networking with these people?
Yeah, if I was going to say for this specific event, it's been masterminds. I'm in a lot of high ticket masterminds, and also previous network. But all the people that I've partnered with in this business, yep, they are all from masterminds or immediate network. So yeah, I think that's a powerful strategy. Just because if you guys think about the ideal avatar of a mastermind member, right? If you're paying $30,000 plus a year, you're likely in a high level, income bracket. You likely have a business. Not everyone in there you're able to joint venture with, but there's probably 1 or 2 persons in that whole mastermind that is an alignment of your business, has a similar demographic, has a similar background, et cetera. So
yeah, no, definitely, I understand that for sure. Okay, cool. And then have you ever brought in like external consultants for your company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some good, some bad.
So what was your experience with that like?
So when you're doing external consultants, right? They don't generally. I mean, it's a transactional thing. It's not I genuinely like to do more strategic partnership stuff because it creates the win-win. Like if the performance is there, we're all winning. But yeah, I've hired consultants building funnels, and some of them were good, some of them weren't. Yeah, it's just you gotta do it. It's one of those things where you have to. I don't want to say fail forward, but you have to test the markets, especially if you're a new entrepreneur. Do your best due diligence around the people, but you still have to learn, especially as a new entrepreneur. I highly recommend finding the best people that have done it at a high level, and engaging them, because at the end of the day, if you don't know how to build funnels, how to run traffic, you're going to need to hire external generally, right? Until you get big enough to joint venture or strategic partnership.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, cool. So if you were to take a look at your business today, where it is today, and you wanted to find out, okay, where can I improve this business so that it's better, so that it's more profitable, all these things, what are 3 areas that you would look at?
3 areas in the business?
Yeah.
Always people first. I always analyze the people. Who do we need to hire? Who do we need, is there anybody we need to have conversations with? So in terms of scaling?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have a better business, you want to grow it, you want to grow your revenue, what would be the 3 areas that you're looking at?
Yeah. Offer, your core offer. So what is your, what is the current offering you have to the public? Is it irresistible? Is it something that people need and want? Right. There's always, you could get really distracted on building a lot of different product lines and suite lines. If you have a very core delivery that gets a specific result, I think offer is super key, especially when you want to scale your business. And then paid traffic, I mean, is the best, in my opinion, to really scale and get good people behind. Because that's how you really get access to different demos, or the people, your target avatar, right, is paying for it, especially on social media platforms nowadays. Organic's really difficult to scale on and build a client base from.
So you're, I'm guessing, driving a lot of paid traffic to your business.
Yep. So we're actually launching this business paid traffic funnel this week. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Cool.
it's exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you used social media and like paid ads in the past to grow your businesses?
Yeah, we did it for the mastermind business or the speaking company. We had some online products.
Mm-hmm. And was
Yeah.
that fairly successful for you?
Yeah, it was good. I think this product that we have here is going to be a lot more effective on paid traffic. So
Mm-hmm.
I generally rely on. This is where I have an external team that runs the paid traffic on our campaigns.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what does your sales process look like? You
Mhm.
have this lead come in, you have traffic coming in, cold lead. What happens next?
Yeah, so it's we do VSL to book appointments. So paid traffic, opt in, training slash free training slash VSL, and from there they either book a call with us or they get retargeted to book a call through our automations, right? So once they book a call with our sales reps or myself, depending on availability, that's the whole process, sales process right now.
Mm-hmm. And
then
how long would you say it takes you to close a client from the time they come in to the time they close?
time they come in, typically we see, because we do like a demo of the tech. So in our current, we have trading technology, just the preface, right? So we do demos of the tech. We show the breakdown, like what is an algorithm, who uses algorithms, and then the results from clients, results from the algorithms. And from there, we basically do a demo. We do offer them, invite them. Right now we're targeting 100 members. Once we do 100 members, we're going to do a closed door and then price increase. But right now, once the 100 members reach, then we'll change that frame. But what was your question one more time? Sorry, I lost it.
Yeah. How long does it take from a client coming in to them actually closing?
Yeah. So 2 call close. So we'll do a demo and they'll either buy then or they'll do a follow-up call, like generally 2 call close within a week usually.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. So if you were to restart in business all over again, maybe you're 18 years old, what advice would you give your younger self?
Advice I would give my younger self would be, yeah, man, it's a journey, right? So it's about being grateful for the learnings, right? Because it's going to happen. You're going to have obstacles. It's about treating the entrepreneurship, life in general, as a game, right? So you're going to have obstacles in this game. It's going to happen. It's how you react to those obstacles, how you perform in adversity, how do you perform in pressure, how do you show up to the world, right? And if you operate from fear, you're just going to backtrack. You're going to manifest the energy backwards, right? If you think you're worried about something, you're doubting something, it's only going to invoke that energy around it. Versus if you genuinely believe you're going to succeed, even if you don't, it's fine. It's about the way you reframe it, right? Because it's all about the reframement process that really allows you to create the belief around yourself, right? So early entrepreneurship, it was difficult because I didn't have this foundation, right? I didn't have the knowledges, the resources from, Tony, from Joe Dispenza, from, NLP Master Training, right? I didn't have the resources in my arsenal to be able to reframe those experiences. So there would be lulls in my success. There'd be lulls in like revenue generation, right? Versus like, okay, that was an obstacle. How do I reframe that? And then boom, we go forward, right? So.
So you feel like reframing really was kind of the key to overcoming some of these obstacles?
Yeah, I would say reframe faster and more often. Don't get stuck in the emotions of fear or doubt or worry, right? Like don't get stuck in those negative vibrations because we're always invoking our reality based on thought, right? And what we believe about ourselves and the thoughts we tell ourselves create the reality, right? So if we believe that, we're going to fail, or if we believe that this isn't going to work, it's not going to work, right? Versus the opposite, right? So we always have a choice between the positive or negative experience in life. And I believe if I would have told myself that younger, I would have been a lot further than I am now, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. So what would you say are some books that have helped you along this entrepreneurial journey?
For business, I would say Straight Line Leadership. It's super powerful. The Science of Getting Rich as well. It's also those two. If you just read those two, you'd be pretty set.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Cool, man. And so one final topic I wanted to talk about is like leadership development. So within your company, you have employees, you have all these people working for you. What kind of development programs do you have for them to become better leaders and better people within your business?
Yeah. So that's some things we need to optimize for sure. Because right now it's most of the people, we only work on the leaders in our team, right? So we definitely need to implement more of the things that like masterminds, the events, right? At the end of the day, because like I do one-on-one versus like structures, right? So I support them as a leader through my coaching abilities, right? So that's the only real structure we have right now. But as we scale bigger, right? Like I believe it'll be more beneficial to have better structures in place, right? Like that actually have like, we have trainings, we have the meetings, we have the standard stuff, right? But like actual retreats where we do like immersive development, I think would be powerful. And yeah, right now I just primarily focus on one-on-one coaching because I know I can get the results just through my background of, I coached a lot of high-level entrepreneurs through my journey. So it's just, I know what levers to move and how to move people and keep them motivated.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Cool. So what's next for you business-wise? Are you just looking to expand this business? Are you looking to buy other companies, or what's next for you?
Yeah. So right now we're in the launch phase, right? So we've been an invite only, friends and family, stuff like that. So we're going into public launch phase. So scaling up that through cold traffic, through strategic partnerships, affiliates. So that's what's next, and developing more tech. Have some really powerful opportunities on the table, some big deals. So developing more trading technology, and yeah, man, really sky's the limit when it comes to this, because like it's really identified. It's like the best irresistible offer, right? So it's like, how can you multiply money nearly passively, leveraging technology, right? Like that was like the question we identified a lot of people are asking. So how do you do passive income, right? We're not completely passive, but it's nearly passive. Entrepreneurs are looking for passive opportunities, right? Or places to put their money that do better than traditional returns. Because at the end of the day, the 4 to 10% you see from traditional strategies a year, I'm sure there's tons of opportunities that absolutely dominate that, right? So it's like putting your money with the traditional bankers, financial advisors. Is that the best case going forward? Is that, diversification, I believe, is the main thing when it comes to finance. And just offering that to people, offering that diversification tool is really what we're most excited about, and what we're seeing a lot of these entrepreneurs be pretty much all in with. So yeah, man, that's what we're focused on.
Awesome. Cool, man. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing all about your experience and the different things that you've done in business. I think it's definitely helpful for some people to see kind of like that journey. And I think one of the biggest takeaways is being able to be flexible,
Yep.
and to know when to pivot, and when to even change industries when you need to. So one final thought. If you're in a business right now, if somebody's watching this, they're doing a business and maybe they're happy with it, maybe they're not happy with it. How do they know that it's time to pivot to the next idea or move on to the next thing? Because sometimes we get offered many different opportunities. I know me personally, every day I get different opportunities, but it doesn't mean I should take them. So how do you know when it's time to pivot to that next opportunity?
Yeah, that's tough, man, because it's case by case, right? So it's like, there's the shiny object syndrome, right? Opportunities all the time. You don't want to just jump into a bunch of things, right? So I think it comes down to knowing that you have a core offer that solves a problem that gets the result people want, right? And that also helps humanity grow, right? Because at the end of the day, all humans, men and women, want to have more life, right? They want to have better dinners. They want to have better lifestyle. They want to have more abundance. They want to have better family, right? So they want more life, right? So if you're designing a product, or you have a product that generates more life for these people, right? A better lifestyle, more value. That's what you should be leaning into, right? And finding ways to monetize that with irresistible offers, and really adding value to people. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're giving people more than you take, right? Even if it's fine, you have a high ticket product. Yeah, you might not be able to give them more money, depending on your product. If you're investing space, maybe. Right. But you might be able to give them more ideas that generates more business, kind of like you're doing here. Right. So it's like, it's not necessarily about the monetary value. It's about the value, the intangible value that you're getting. It's a $3 audiobook can give you crazy momentum and results. Right. So it's like, was it that exchange, that $3 worth the amount of money you made from that knowledge? Right. So it's just like, how do you provide as much value, intangible value to people without getting shiny object syndrome? Right. Because that does happen, right? Like you said, you experience a lot of opportunities. And if you take all these opportunities, you're scattered. And you'll learn that in Straight Line Leadership when you read it. But if you're scattered, you don't have the laser-like precision. You're not going to cut through steel like a laser beam, right? Like I think the metaphor is that a laser beam has the same wattage as a light bulb, right? The light bulb is scattered. the laser beam pierces through steel, right? So it's like, where is your focus and what are you focused on? Just make sure that it's adding more value to people. It's adding more life to people with gratitude and love. And if you're doing that and you're aligned with things that you love to do, I genuinely believe that you should go all in on that. When it comes to investment opportunities and you're not spending a ton of your time, I mean, that's potentially fine depending if you know the market and the things you're investing in. But yeah, man, when it comes to knowing when to pivot, it's like, if this is not aligned with me, if I'm not aligned with the thing that I'm doing, or I don't feel good about it, or it's not fun for me, maybe pivot or go all in. And generally what happens is if you go all in, you'll find the next thing, right? The thing that actually, for instance, did I want to do accounting and CPA work? Not really. I didn't love it. I was good at it, but I wasn't super fulfilled with it, right? But because I did that, I filled the hole in Nick's business that allowed me to go do global keynote speaking, partner with Tony Robbins, right? So it's like, did I think my CPA license would allow me to bring me there? No, but I saw an opportunity and I pivoted, even though I was uncertain about it, but I knew that would lead me down a road that allowed me to bring more life, more fulfillment, because we impacted millions of lives, right? So it's like, unconsciously, I knew that. And consciously, I know it now, right? So does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. So if somebody wants to connect with you, what's your Instagram handle?
So Instagram is Don Hayley, DonHayley.
Awesome. Cool. So is that the best way to reach you?
Yeah. You reach out to me on Instagram, shoot me a DM. My team checks it. If, reach out to me, a specific question to me, I'll get back to you directly. And yeah, man, it's awesome to have, be here on the show, and really appreciate the questions. It's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me and for sharing the wisdom that you've gained over the years in business. And it was really, really great to hear you share some of those things. So thank you guys all for hopping on here. This is Mr. Don Hayley, and he's dropped a lot of interesting ideas and gems for you guys to apply to your businesses so that you can run a better business. Thanks for joining us. This is Better Business with Austin Zelan, and I'll see you all in the next episode.